At the beginning of practice, we'll have the kids do a hands routine. We won't have them do it every day because then it gets old, but we try to do this every other day. We'll start them on the wall. They'll do standing sets to begin with, 50 to 100. While they're doing this, that could be setting up the net or nets, be taking a roll. We're just trying to be time efficient. They'll go side to side. And whatever number we tell them, 50 or 100. Up downs. That the entire team will do this regardless what position they play. Superman. Again, coaches could be setting up nets right now. We could be taking attendance while they're doing this. Just trying to be time efficient. So when they're done on the wall, then we'll put them on the court and we'll get some movement with this hands routine. The first one they're gonna do is just walking forward. Then they're gonna be walking backwards. They're gonna skip, followed by a lateral shuffle. And then big set, little set. Now what we just showed you was a very shortened version of the hands warm-up we do, and it's not all of it. It's just to give you an idea. One thing that we do like to do in 7th grade, say like when they're done working on a drill, we'll tell them, when you're done, you and your partner go ahead and have a seat. We'll take their legs away from them, working on their hands. So they're just hand passing, setting back and forth. And to incorporate some core work, we'll have them do crunches while they're doing their hand passing. We like to do this quite a bit. A shoulder warm-up that we like to use a lot, we'll put them in partners. They're at the 10-foot line. This will also help what we're about to show you with hand placement, breaking the wrist, driving down on the ball. What they are going to start with right now, though, is a nice ball control swing where they're hitting to their partner. Ideally, their partner should not have to move their feet to catch the ball. We will look at, are they open to the side, as in closing while they swing, rotating their hips. We might make this a competition where they got to go to 10, partner cannot move her feet. Then we'll evolve to where they hit the ball under the net to their partner. Definitely snapping wrist. Look at the opening and closing. Are they rotating hip? Then we'll make this competitive. First 1 to 10 wins. Something else we'll do, they hit off the ground in front of the net where they have to hit over the net to their partner. This helps teach them to drive down on the ball, snap the wrist. If good ball control is being used, the partner should not have to move her feet to catch the ball. Again, we'll make this into a competition too, maybe the first to 10. If you move them closer to the net, then it forces them to even have to more drive down on the ball, snap that wrist. We do a lot of shuffling, footwork, passing, shuffling, digging, shuffling. There's so many movements that you can do, but we're just going to show you briefly today, taking advantage of the net, forcing them to stay low. They are going to have to shuffle underneath the net.
Ready, go.
The first movement that they're doing is just a simple lateral shuffle. Should be 3 steps. First foot should be the directional foot, the direction that they're moving in. We also do forward and backwards.
Ready, go.
And we'll have them alternate their lead foot on this. Eyes should be forward when shuffling. Eyes on platform on contact. We'll also do a zigzag diagonal shuffle going down the net. So they're going to do a forward zigzag shuffle. When this is done, we're going to do a reverse or backwards diagonal shuffle, shuffling backwards, doing the diagonals. A lot of kids tend to stand up when they're shuffling, so we do take advantage of the net. Sometimes we'll put two nets together and they'll shuffle up and down the length of both nets. At the same time, we can get more kids out there too when we have the two nets. Again, this is just a small sample, just to give you an idea. Here's a passing drill that we'll use. You can use it as a warm up their platform. They're going to be throwing the ball, so this is another good shoulder warm-up. We do have the net split up in thirds. You don't have to do that. You could put one antenna at the center of the net and have just two groups, but we're using three groups right now. Try to get as many kids out on the court as possible, less wait time. Two diggers for sure, forcing both of them to have to talk on each ball. Throwers, you may begin throwing. In this little segment, we're not having them rotate. We're just going to keep the passers on the same side of the net, throwers on the same side. Makes it a little less confusing. You might say, you've got to get 10 good passes to your target before we rotate. But we'll definitely switch them out. Everybody will get a turn passing. Everybody will get a turn throwing. And we definitely won't have the same kid at target. They will rotate around. Instead of throwing, they could also be ball control hitting at them. But it doesn't have to be throwing. It can be hitting or throwing. You put any type of spin you want on this. If we happen to have BOSUs on campus through, like, say, the Northside Pep unit, we'll use them in volleyball season. It's good to work on balance. We'll put the kids on top of the BOSU. It helps with balance a lot, so after they do some digs and passes on the BOSU, then we'll put them back on the ground, and it'll make it seem so much easier. For anybody who has not stood on a BOSU before, then we'll put one foot at a time. They're going to put their left foot on the BOSU to begin with, and they're going to dig from some nice easy tosses. So we'll go 1 foot at a time so they get used to it a little bit before we go to 2 feet. Switch to your right foot. Always telling them to be loud. Tossers always talk. And then this will lead into both feet. Now, a nice thing about them having to be balanced on the BOSU, it forces most of them to get lower. So this is kind of twofold. It works on being balanced, or working on balance, and staying nice and low. Here's a drill that we'll use a couple times in a season at least. We'll cover the net with bed sheets, so the passers, diggers, they cannot see the ball until it pretty much goes over the tape. It cuts down on their read time, it cuts down on the reaction time, forcing them to have to read quicker and forcing them to react faster. Our target, if she gets a nice pass dig over to her. If it's above her head, she will practice dumping, pushing the ball over. Okay, you may begin throwing. We're starting with the modified version right now, where on the other side of the net the ball is being thrown. They're being told to throw the ball at different spots on the court, different depths. For someone who hasn't done this before, it's a little hard at first because the read time is shorter. But the throwers have been told to throw at different depths, throw to different spots on the court. To make this harder, we'll have them serve instead of throw. We'll also do some hitting with this, including from the 10-foot line. But this is the first step that we'll use. This is pretty much the most modified version we'll use. It may take them a little time to get used to, but it does benefit. Another thing we'll do is we'll put a talker on the side to help promote talking. We'll put a communicator on the side. So Lexi is on the side now, and she's going to read the ball as it's being thrown to help the passers. I'll tend to put someone over on the side there where Lexi is at right now, someone who doesn't talk so much, someone who isn't that loud, which just is forcing that person to have to talk and be loud. Again, there's many different variations you can do with these bed sheets. This is just one. After we have the sheets up for a while, I've gone as far as 20-25 minutes on the bed sheets. We'll take the bed sheets off and do the same thing without the sheets on. It'll make the court seem a whole lot bigger. The kids will be able to read the ball when it leaves the hitter, server's hand, and it'll make it seem that much easier to play, read, and react to the ball. Here's a depth perception drill for passing that we like to do. We'll start them short. The ball is going to go deep. Typically, we'll start the ball being thrown. We could do this at the beginning of practice as a shoulder warm-up. A little bit more control with the ball too. So we're gonna have our throwers, they will throw deep, and the passers will be shuffling backwards, trying to keep the ball in front of them at point of contact, passing to target. If it's a good pass to target, the target is going to practice dumping the ball over or strategically pushing the ball over. Okay, let's start. So ideally, the ball right now, it is supposed to be thrown deep into the court, forcing the passers to shuffle backwards. Keeping ball in front. They're supposed to be calling their seams. Here's the same depth perception drill that we were using. Now we're going to have the passers, they start deep and they're going to have to move into the court towards the net, playing ball short. Go ahead. We talk about angle the platform on their pass since they're moving towards the net. If they have to hook their platform, definitely not supposed to be talking, calling their seams ahead of time. So what we're showing you right now, the ball is being thrown. We do the same thing with serving. That we'll probably do more of this with the serving than the passing. Just with the throwing, it's a little bit more controlled, especially with 7th grade. So you can do the same thing that we're showing you right now, but serving instead of passing. To help enforce getting around the ball and squaring to target when digging and passing, we'll put dots on the floor. We call this V passing. They will shuffle to their left, they will shuffle to their right, and the tosser is the target in this drill. The tosser is in the center of the front 2 dots. So they do have to get around the ball on the left side and the right side. Okay, you may begin. We work a lot of times with 3 shuffle movements. We have kind of a 5-foot rule that if the ball is going to land about 5 feet from where the player is at, she should be able to shuffle in 3 shuffles or less. And we use 3s a lot when we're shuffling. The same drill can be used. We can reverse the dots where they are shuffling backwards to the point of contact on the ball instead of shuffling forward, which they're doing right now. A hitting drill that you can incorporate diggers also. We do have 3 diggers out there right now on each side of the net. Essentially, we're hitting out of left front right now, so we can get 2 hitters going at the same time, hitting in opposite directions across the net. When we can, we will be trying to hit line on this. Any ball, each and every ball that is set, the hitter has to play. They're not going to get a perfect set every time in a match, so this is a good experience. If they don't get a good set now, trying to use their hands, place it over in a good spot. If they have to, then their platform, but also strategically trying to place the ball over the net. We call this 2-line hitting. Okay, you can begin. All diggers should be talking out there. They should be talking yours, mine, deep, short. You don't have to have diggers out there. You don't have to have 3 diggers on each side. Adjust any way you like. We have 3 diggers on each side to try to enforce more talking, especially if the ball is hit between them in a seam. We're going to add a blocker now on each side, so they have to hit against the block. Blockers! Blockers, please! Now we have a blocker on each side. There's so much you could do with this. You could put a double block. We call this 2-line hitting. Here's a hitting drill that we can hit from all 3 spots in the front row. Instead of the 2-line hitting where we're hitting strictly out of left front, now we can incorporate middle and right front. We have 2 setters going at the same time. We do have our 3 diggers. Okay, you can have no diggers, 1 digger, 2 diggers. We have 3. So ideally, they're all talking to each other, and they have to be alert because there's going to be 2 balls that are being hit kind of at the same time or close to it. Our setter, Sharpie, who is waving at you right now, she will be setting strictly left fronts. And Emily, who is raising her hand right now, she's going to be setting middle and right front. All right, let's start. If it's not a good set, ideally they're playing every ball. We won't do this at the beginning of the season because there is quite a bit going on at the same time. We may not have a middle line going. We may just hit out a right front and left front. And when they get used to that, then we'll add a middle line. So there's 3 lines hitting, 3 attackers, or 2 attackers at the same time, but with 3 lines. Can always incorporate a block. Okay, blockers! So we're gonna put a blocker in there now. Everybody has to be alert. There's a lot going on right now. Definitely don't want a stray ball rolling on the court somebody might land on. But this is just one way. You want to get left front, middle front, right front going at the same time. What we like to use a lot is a hitting platform or plyo box. We can focus on their arm swing. It takes pretty much all the timing element away from them. With their approach and their footwork, they're not using their legs. So we can focus on their hips on up, especially the arm swing. We do want them to rotate their hips into the swing. Let's watch this. Go ahead.
4, 4, 4.
And we do want them to follow through, bring their arm all the way down. Snap on top.
4.
And a full arm swing, a full follow through.
4. 4. 4.
Sometimes when doing approach hitting, kids don't use a full arm swing. So we'll put them with their backs to the net, tell them they've got to hit their hands to the bottom tape, loading while they're swinging, and practicing their jump and their swing. When you don't have a net to use, you can just put 2 kids together and do like a reverse high five, so to speak. Same thing. Again, trying to load and using a full arm swing to get a maximum vertical when they approach and hit. Sometimes we'll use plyo boxes to work on getting them up off the ground. We'll start with no steps, where they just jump off the ground and onto the plyo box. They are open to their set right now. They're open to the ball. They should be loading low. This will segue into, I tend to go to a 2-step from this. So girls, start 2-step flamingo onto the plyo box. With a bigger group, we'll use more plyo boxes. We'll have like 4 or 5 out there at the same time. We have a whole team of 30 or so. And after they do flamingo a few times, then they'll just use a full approach with a swing. They're not calling their number right now so that you can hear me a little clearer, but we would have them call their number. And there's so much more you can add to this. will maybe add a ball. And while they go up in the air, they'll catch the ball. You could even have them hit, but definitely for safety reasons, we start with this. Something that we'll do from time to time to help with their approach footwork, we'll put down poly spots in each position, and they have to do their approaches to the different poly spots. They start their approach from the same spot behind the 10-foot line, but each time they go, they'll rotate to a different poly spot, or they'll do an approach to a different poly spot. The main thing we're looking for is, are they open to the set, open to the ball, watch how they place their feet, and are they closing while they swing? We're going to zoom in on the middle right now so you can see the poly spots a little bit better. Again, are they open to the set? Are they rotating, closing while they swing? We're telling them to have their feet at 90-degree angles in regard to their approach, in regard to their approach line. One piece of equipment we like to use a lot for hitting is this blue hitting trainer. Why it's so valuable is because it's a dead ball. It helps the kids who have a hard time with their timing on their approach with a live set ball. Many of them do have trouble with their timing, especially 7th grade. So what we do is kind of transition them into that live approach or live ball with the hitting trainer. It's a dead ball. We can focus on their footwork and their arm swing. Go ahead. Generally, when we go, I will put them in groups as similar as possible with their vertical ability. Small groups so they don't have to wait so long. And we'll adjust the height of the trainer. We'll have it so that they can drive down on the ball and work on hand placement, driving down. Or I might have the height a little higher for them so that the kids that do not get their elbow up as high as they should, it forces them to have to extend that hand up even more than what they're used to doing, and the elbow is up higher. So we have a mix of verticals in this current group right here. There are about 3 of them. It's at a height where they can drive down on. And there's 1 or 2 in the group that it's a little high for them, but it's forcing them to get their elbow up. And we have the trainer in left front. You can put it anywhere you want, middle front, right front. It is sliding a little bit, so we would adjust the trainer and put it back in its original spot. Here's a left front transition drill that we'll do. You can do the same thing out of right front also, but we're just going to look at it left front today. We're holding a noodle, a pool noodle, to force them to get underneath the noodle and stay low as they go back to the 10-foot line to dig. And then they'll transition to their approach spot and do an approach with the swing. Go ahead, Allie. They should be low.
4, 4, 4.
Watch so that when they go under the noodle, they don't stand up. The whole idea is to get under the noodle and stay low as they get to the 10-foot line. Okay, we're going to start using a ball now. And we're just going to give them a nice easy throw. They're going to dig to target. And so still transition and swing. Again, we'll do the same thing in right front. And then now what we're going to do, the next phase, and this would be to actually have them hit. Here's a quick little segment that we want to show you in regards to hand placement on ball and where the ball should be when tossing, when serving, and attacking in regards to ball being in front of them. Go ahead, you can pick up the ball. Ideally, the ball should be out in front of their hitting shoulder. If you take a look at hand placement on ball, where Amelia has her hand, she's going to be able to drive the ball forward, and it's going to be more linear. It's going to be a nice serve. If the hand, or if the ball is on top of her head, notice the change in hand location on the ball. Her hand is a little underneath the ball. She could still get the ball over the net on the serve, but it's not going to be the best serve. It's going to be rainbowish, it's going to be high, it's going to be an easy ball for the other team to pass. Worse is if the ball was behind her. Now we're over exaggerating this a little bit, but you see kids toss behind quite a bit. They arch, they put a lot of stress in their lower back and in their shoulder. This ball probably is not going to go over the net. If it does, it's going to be extremely easy to pass. And again, it's unhealthy. She's going to end up getting a back injury or shoulder injury if she were to constantly do this. A very important part of serving is the actual toss itself. We practice tossing quite a bit in practice. Most any serving portion or segment of practice that we have, we will tell them they have to get a certain amount of good tosses in before they're allowed to start serving. We have dots out on the floor. That's their target. The dot is placed in front of where they're standing. We look to see if they're shifting their weight forward from their back foot to their front foot. When they begin their toss, they should be having their hand, the ball in front of their hitting shoulder, ideally just tossing the ball straight up and in front of their body so they have to step into the ball. To help promote serving, we do use a cord. We have a cord right now stretched across the antennas. What they're going to do is try to serve underneath the cord between the tape and we've got some targets out there right now. We have two targets that are in seams. We've got a couple that are in the back row. You can't see one now, it's hidden. And then we also have two in short zones. So they have visuals to look at. We use targets. We use passes out there. There's different things you can do. The point of this is having the cord and them serving underneath the cord. A good toss out in front of them is going to help with this objective, serving underneath the cord. Here's a butterfly drill that we use for different reasons. One, we have them throw. It's a good shoulder warm-up. You can work on throwing technique. This also works on getting around the ball. We have the ball being thrown out of left back right now, ball being passed out of right back. So they should be getting their right foot around the ball, and they will rotate. Essentially, they'll follow the ball is how they rotate, but you could have them rotate any way you like. Again, we stress loud talking, and again, just getting around the ball to work on digging technique. You may start. So hopefully any drill that involves a tosser, thrower, we always tell them the most important person in that drill is the tosser, the thrower. So if tell the kids to keep the ball close to the sideline, ideally forcing the digger to have to get around the ball and squaring up the target. Reset. Okay, so what we're going to do now is just switch the direction. So they'll be throwing out of right back, digging out of left back, getting their left foot around the ball and squaring up to target. Okay. And we don't want the targets just to catch the ball. We work on their hands a little bit. They're jumping up and simulate a jump set. We'll also sometimes we'll have them dump the ball over the net, but the way we're having them rotate right now, the target is just staying on her side of the net going to the throwing line. If you have real good ball control with hitting, serving, instead of throwing, you could have the girls hitting the ball or serving. Here's a two-direction butterfly. We've done the one-direction butterfly. Especially with 7th grade, we'll always start with the one direction, let them get a little bit comfortable, used to it. Then we have two directions serving at the same time. It does get maybe a little confusion at first, but once they get a little used to it, it's a whole lot smoother. There will be different ways you can rotate kids in and out. We do not like to rotate our passers, say left to right or right to left. A passer may not even get a chance to make a pass, and she rotates off the court. So we always wait until somebody passes, and then she rotates off. Okay, you may start serving. Of course, what's critical is the servers getting their serves in so that the passers can get repetitions with their platform. Ideally, they're keeping the ball in front of them, moving their feet. Everybody's doing their job talking. And we like to call our seams before the serve is made. There'll be a variety of serves, deep and short. So they have to read the ball off the server's hand, move feet. But it's a two-direction butterfly, and there's different variations. This is just one way right here. Feel free to adjust any way you like. Here's a 6-on-6 drill that we'll use to help incorporate talking. We just call this Lexi Run. This is the name of the drill. Whoever sends the ball over the net, third touch, second touch, she is the one that has to yell out who on her team is going to run, and they have to run to the back wall. Ball is still being in play, so when that person is running, they only have 5 people. So it behooves them to run as fast as they can. If the person who is supposed to be calling out to their teammate who's supposed to run, if she doesn't say it soon enough or she's not loud enough, then it's going to be automatic point for the other team. All right, let's check this out. So in an instance like that, stuff block, we just start over. Okay, so that would be a point for the other team. When the team that's closest to us right here, right now, when they hit the ball over the net, the girl that hit it over, she did not tell a teammate to run. She did, but she was like 2 or 3 seconds too late, and it wasn't loud enough. I let them finish out the rally. You don't have to let them finish the rally. But again, if the team, if they don't say it loud enough, and she doesn't say it soon enough, then it will be an automatic point for the other team. And this is just to help incorporate talking. As we all know, talking is extremely important on the court. Being loud, talking, yelling way ahead of time, being very proactive with the talking. Here's a drill. We'll have them play 6-on-6 where there's no talking. When they play this for a while, they can't talk, communicate to each other. This is to emphasize how important talking is. So they keep playing. If one player just happens to accidentally say one word, then the other team gets the point. So the other team automatically got the point on that. I let them play out the rally, but the other team will get the point. After a little while, I'll let them clap their hands, or they come up with some type of way to communicate on the court. But again, the idea of the non-talking, as you can see right there, that didn't help. Just tries to point out how much of talking, how important it is. Here's a 6-on-6 that we'll use a free ball to emphasize talking. Whoever's the loudest on the court will get the point. There's different ways to score this, but even if a side who we determine is the loudest does not get the point, we'd say give them the point because they're louder. Or if the side that is the loudest also wins the rally, and we give them 2 points for winning the rally and for being the loudest. So we just call this the loud game. Here's a serving passing drill that we use that the kids like. We call it the eliminator. It's a serving team versus a passing team. Essentially, the servers get to continue serving until they are eliminated. How they get eliminated is by a good loud pass where all the passers are talking, or if they do have a service error, that would eliminate them too. The servers are the ones who score points. They get 1 point every time they serve that they don't get eliminated. They continue to serve until all players are eliminated. Okay, let's start serving. There's our first serve. Okay, so it wasn't a good pass. Point for servers. Point server. Eliminated. There's another point for the serving team. So they would just keep serving until eliminated. So there's a good pass or a service error.